Now let's broaden our look at employment and let's look at employment statistics internationally. Europe has been having some ongoing problems with unemployment, meaning that they've been persistently high in many countries. Unemployment levels in Europe are much higher than those in the United States. Analysts blame both sluggish economic growth and high unemployment benefits. Now, what do I mean by high unemployment benefits? Well, if unemployment benefits are generous, there's less incentive to find work. This is just one possible explanation as to why Europe's unemployment rates are higher than in the US. So here are some comparisons. As you can see, the United States here, this is a little few years back, 2014, but the United States is at about 6.6%. It's almost half that now, but as you can see, countries, let's say like Greece and Spain, have much higher unemployment rates. Spain, their unemployment rate has dropped to about 16, 17% now, but you could see this is very, very high. Now keep in mind, the unemployment rate at the height of the Great Depression in the 1930s for the United States peaked at 24%. So you've got Spain and Greece at that level, and it's been that way for quite some time. Now, let's talk about what does it mean when the unemployment rate is so low you've achieved full employment. Full employment is not the same as a 0% unemployment rate. The reason why is because there's some type of unemployment that you can't get rid of, and there's also some unemployment that you don't want to get rid of. And I'll explain that in a second. Now, what's some type of unemployment that you cannot get rid of? That's seasonal unemployment. Seasonal unemployment is the unemployment rate due to seasonal changes in the employment or labor supply. There are some jobs that simply find parts of the year where they just don't find work. For example, teachers in the summer months are unemployed. Let's say you are in certain types of farming, or let's say you work in the crabbing industry in Alaska. There are going to be parts of the year where you're not going to have work. That's seasonal unemployment. You can't get rid of it. It's just the nature of certain jobs. Now, frictional unemployment. Frictional employment is a type of good unemployment. Frictional unemployment is the brief periods of unemployment experienced by people moving between jobs in the labor market. Now, this is a sign of a healthy economy. Excuse me. When you leave work, leave a job to find a better fit to your skill set, this is an improvement in the economic situation. When there is a good fit between job skills and job requirements, the economy becomes more productive. So frictional unemployment is just the natural turnover in the employment sector, and this is actually considered to be a good type of unemployment. Now, frictional employment differs from other unemployments in three ways. One, there is an adequate demand for labor. In other words, if you voluntarily leave your job to find a better one, the assumption is there's a job out there. Secondly, the frictional unemployed have the skills required for the next job. So if you leave your job to find a better fit, it's also presumed that you have the skill set to find that job. And finally, the job search is relatively short. In other words, you can't be frictionally unemployed if it takes you 2 years to find that better fit. Now, what about structural unemployment? Structural unemployment is considered to be a bad type of unemployment. This is a mismatch between job skills and job requirements. In other words, there may be jobs available, but if there are few people qualified to do those jobs, this is going to be a type of unemployment that's not easily fixed. Now, this can be fixed with training and education, but structural unemployment is not a good type of unemployment. Now, the worst type of unemployment is cyclical unemployment. Cyclical unemployment is simply there's not enough jobs out there for available workers. This is the type of unemployment that's usually associated with economic downturns, like in recessions. So when you look at the unemployment rate in the United States over time, you can see that there have been periods where it spiked. This is, by the way, this is the Great Depression when the unemployment rate spiked to about 25%. But you can see the United States has had a pretty good run in having the unemployment rate relatively low and steady. Now then, what's the natural rate of unemployment? Well, the natural rate of unemployment is the long-term unemployment determined by structural forces in the product markets. The natural rate of unemployment consists of only frictional and seasonal. So sometimes the natural rate of unemployment is also considered to be full employment. When you have full employment, there's only two types of unemployment out there, frictional and seasonal. Cyclical has been eliminated and structural has been minimized. So that wraps things up for the employment sector. Next, we're going to be talking about the inflation rate.